It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is January 14th, Wednesday. Halfway through the week, we've done it. We're almost there, guys. Friday is just around the corner. We can do it. I believe in you. We can do hard things, right? And if this is the hardest things that we got to go through is just to get to Friday, then I'd say we're doing pretty damn well. Welcome to everyone that is new here. If you are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave a comment. There's comments now on Spotify. I'm obsessed. You can also like the show, follow the show, give it a 5-star review and rating. And then also, I am streaming live on X for the first time today. I wonder if that's going well. I have no idea if it's actually even working. I wouldn't even know how to check, but hopefully it is. We're going to see how that goes. If you guys are here today, we have a true crime episode, a true crime heavy episode. I hate to say it, but the true crime is criming. And there's a lot of updates going on right now with a lot of different stories, right? We have updates in the Monique Tepe and Spencer Tepe, Ohio double murder by Michael McKee. A little bit of background on there. Breaking news, Timothy Busfield, who turned himself in yesterday, has new allegations against him. I could have predicted this. Just saying, I don't want to, pat myself on the back, but I feel like I knew. I knew this was going to happen. A new trial that is on the radar right now, the au pair trial that just started airing live today. And my friend Peter Tragos from The Lawyer is covering that. So he turned me on to that one. I'm going to introduce that one to you. Plus, we do have some pop culture news because Mandy Moore has spoken about the big Hillary Duff, Ashley Tisdale drama, but not really, but kind of. And an update on Tommy Lee Jones. So much. Okay, everyone, get ready. It's your daily dose of Donna. This show is brought to you by Correct Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself. Everyone, we are going to correct ourselves today. This is the truth, okay? From now on, if I ever do anything to piss you guys off, or if you love me, just correct yourself. That should be #correct yourself. I need to get a sweatshirt. We really need to do that, right? Correct yourself. Oh, it's so good. I got so many DMs yesterday saying correct yourself because my new thing on Instagram stories is highlighting Facebook comments. Facebook comments are wildly inappropriate. I don't understand the Facebook community at all. I imagine just knowing the age of people that are on Facebook versus maybe Instagram or X or whatever. I think they age up on Facebook. No offense. I'm 44 years old. I love myself an older person, but I do think that they tend to be a little bit older. And there's also no filter on Facebook, meaning they don't hold back. Like almost I feel like the Facebook comments don't recognize that there's a real person behind the screen. So some Facebook comments, why doesn't your forehead move? Why are you using your hands? Stop. I don't get it. I'm just me. This is me. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Greatest showman. Danny, thank you for being a member for 18 months. She says, love to the mods. Couldn't do it without the mods. Okay. The mobs keep this show afloat. That's Laura. That's Christina. That's Josh. That's Micah. You guys are killing it every single day. I appreciate you all the time. Really do. Let's get into the show. Yeah. Breaking news. Timothy Busfield. You guys, I could have predicted this. I think I did say it yesterday. I definitely was thinking it. And I got a little bit of pushback from a couple comments. Well, just from one. Okay. Just from one. He probably was behind the Botox comment too. He said, by the way, Elysian, this is your first time on a live. Welcome. Breaking that, popping the cherry. We're going to move on from that awkward comment I just made. So I got a comment yesterday saying, innocent until proven guilty. Don't go after him. Here you go. You're speculating. You're da-da-da about Timothy Busfield. Listen, I am not a journalist I don't consider myself the news. I consider myself a commentary channel. Stuff is happening in the world. I bring it to you guys and I give you my opinion. There is not one part of me that is rooted in like what I say is definitely the truth. But you guys don't watch me because you just want the headlines. You want my opinion. And my opinion with Timothy Busfield is that this guy is giving off guilty vibes. Okay? I can say that because my sociology background, because I used to be a casting director and I read people for a living and I understand kind of like your tells. I think his body language speaks lying when he's giving his speech about how, I didn't do anything to those boys. Those boys got Christmas presents from you and your wife. Those boys were actors on a show that you directed. Those boys you were tickling, but now they're just those boys. It's giving a little bit of a no respect whatsoever for the process, just pulling yourself out. If you guys don't remember, yesterday he did speak to he recorded a video of him. I just want to pull it up for anyone that missed it yesterday, but he did record a video yesterday where he surrendered from his attorney's office. And I thought 1000% the video felt shady. I thought it felt odd. It did not feel sincere. Also, a lot of you guys pulled the information that you thought his eye movement. If you watch eye movement when there's people that are admitting lies, I learned this from Southern Charm. Okay. Southern Charm, Craig Conover taught me that when Austin Kroll looked to his left when they asked, did you hook up with Shep's ex? It's looking to the left. Okay. I'm going to play it right now. I was just waiting for an ad to go by. There's an ad on TMZ, so I don't want to share that. We have about 10 more seconds, and then I'm going to play you the video. Once I play you the video, then we're going to talk about new charges, of course, that have arrived. Plus, we have video of when the U.S. Marshals had to raid his house. Here we go. Here is his video that it's not his surrender video, but I guess it is his surrender video saying, I'm not in hiding. Here I am. I'm at my attorney's office. Let's go.
Hi, everybody. It's Tim. I'm sure most of you know that are watching this that I was ordered to come to Albuquerque. I'm here now. I got the call Friday night. I had to get a lawyer. Saturday, I got in a car. I drove 2,000 miles to Albuquerque. I'm going to confront these lies. They're horrible. They're all lies. And I did not do anything to those little boys. And I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it with a great team. And I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am, because this is all so wrong and all lies. So hang in there. And hopefully I'm out real soon and back to work. And I love everybody for supporting me. Thank you.
Okay, Timothy. Well, I will say the reason why my gut feeling was telling me something a little bit shady about this guy is because I have to say, when you have former charges related to this, related to, child sex abuse, et cetera, when there's former charges and former history relating to you and that, it's speaking a little bit of, where there's smoke, there's fire. For me, there's a lot of men, women, whatever, that go through their entire lives. They're successful, they're famous, whether they are in the entertainment industry or they're in politics or whatever, and they never get these kinds of allegations against them. But some people just do. Now, he had an allegation against him in 1996, which he eventually had to settle with the accuser. She was a minor, a 17-year-old, I believe. And then he had to pay the law firm whom he sued for defamation because the judge stood with the law firm. There's also been various other, rumblings through the years. But the biggest news is that today he had a new charge that has just been released about a former other 17-year-old, I believe she's 17. Let's go through the article together just so I get all the details exactly right. In a new allegation, Timothy Busfield sexually abused. This is all alleged based on a new allegation, okay? This is not my personal opinion. I'm reading an article. Timothy Busfield sexually abused a third child whose therapist dad thought it would be better for the actor to receive counseling than be arrested. Yep. So, in a new lawsuit, a bombshell new lawsuit seen by the Daily Mail, I'm reading, of course, my favorite. He has a new assault charge against him. He has been accused of sexually abusing a 16-year-old girl while she was auditioning for a show. And again, in New Mexico. The alleged victim's father told police, the accusation took place. The accused abuse took place in Sacramento, California. I'm sorry, but the motion is filed in New Mexico because that's where Busfield is. The alleged victim, so the 16-year-old girl, whenever this was, so now she's probably, I don't know what year this actually took place yet, but the alleged victim's father told police that Busfield groped the aspiring actress several years ago at the theater he founded in Sacramento, California. It says, while auditioning for the defendant at B Street Theater, which is his theater, the 16-year-old reported that he kissed her and put his hands down her pants and touched her privates. Busfield allegedly begged the family to not report to law enforcement if he received therapy. And the alleged victim's father, being a therapist himself, thought at the time that was the best thing to do. The actor has turned himself to police, as you guys know, and he's being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Bernalillo County before a brief hearing in front of a judge scheduled for today. I haven't seen any sort of idea of when that will actually take place. In addition, prosecutors are planning to push for him to continue to be held in custody without bond. So now he has 3 different sex abuse charges this week. And this is an interesting development too. His wife, Melissa Gilbert. So his wife, Melissa Gilbert, is she's an actress, right? She was on Little House on the Prairie as a young girl. She also has spoken in detail about children and adults on the set of movies, etc. She just recently spoke about it. But she is standing by her husband because according to this, when he spoke, because Timothy Busfield did not just learn about the allegations today, you guys. And I want to say that yesterday, a lot of people were saying, well, you have to give him some time. There was an arrest warrant issued on Friday. He needed a moment to get a lawyer. He needed to figure out what his steps were. Give him some time. Well, you guys, he didn't find out about this on Friday. He found out about this in November of 2025. And he actually had a conversation with police about the allegations back in November 2025. And on that conversation, Melissa Gilbert was listening on speakerphone. So she has been very aware of this as well. So this whole idea that the arrest warrant came out on Friday and he did not show up in person until Tuesday is absolutely signs of guilt. He wasn't like, whoa, what do I do? He knew this was coming. He may have not known that there was going to be an actual arrest warrant, but he knew that police were investigating him back in November. And on that conversation, that's when he told the officers that the boys brought the allegations because they were upset that the sons had been replaced with a younger actor on the show. And then in that conversation, he also said that was the conversation where he said, listen, it was a very friendly set. It was a very friendly set. And we, there may have been some tickling. And I said it yesterday on TikTok and on Instagram that I personally do not think tickling is really appropriate with a 7, 8, 9-year-old boy that's not your own. In fact, I don't even tickle my kids. No one likes to be tickled. Can we just put that out there right now? No one likes to be tickled. Who wants to be tickled in life? No one. But a 7, 8, 9-year-old boy should not be tickled by a director on a set. I don't care how friendly that set is. If you're friendly, bring donuts. There's no excuse. And I feel very strongly about this. You guys know my history as a former casting director who worked with Disney, Nickelodeon, worked with many, many kids on sets. There is no tickling that should be allowed with the parents in the room or without the parents in the room by your director, by your male adult director. Ain't good. Okay. So that's my personal feeling. But if you guys are cool with your kids getting tickled by random adults, then that's on you. I don't know. I don't get it. By the way, according to this arrest warrant, the probe into Timothy Busfield was actually opened in November 2024. So this investigation has been going on for a very long time. I said that conversation that he had with Melissa Gilbert on speakerphone was in November 2025, but this has been going on since November 2024. Okay, so this guy should have had an attorney very much in place, and he should have had a plan for when this was going to go next or where this was going to go next. Now, I have a video here from Daily Mail as well. Sorry. That is inside the armed police raid of Timothy Busfield's mountain hideout. The door was rammed as he turns himself in on child sex abuse charges. And Melissa Gilbert, according to this article, it says Melissa Gilbert's angry reaction is revealed. Let me share this with you and let's see if we can get the video to work well. This is based on a Daily Mail article here. It says heavily armed U.S. Marshals raided the upstate New York home of Timothy Busfield and his wife less than an hour after the actor turned him into police. So he had already turned himself into police, and then they went and raided his home. That's interesting, right? The raid came 2 days after cops issued a warrant for the West Wing actor's arrest, charging him with 2 counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor and 1 count of child abuse on the set of his TV show, The Cleaning Lady. At least 10 officers, members of the New York Regional Fugitive Task Force, rammed open the door of the Little House on the Prairie star's $300,000 property in tiny Highland Lake in the Catskill Mountains, demanding any occupants come outside. The raid, witnessed exclusively by the Daily Mail, occurred within an hour of news breaking that he had handed himself into authorities and that he was innocent. When they received no response at the door, the marshals, fitted with helmets and shields and armed with assault rifles and riot gear, burst into the home using a battering ram to knock open the white front door. Several law enforcement officers spent around 10 minutes examining the interior before clearing the rear of the snowy property, which also has an RV and an outhouse. They didn't take any belongings when they left, okay? So what he did here is not appropriate, meaning hiding from authorities so that the fugitive task force agents and U.S. Marshals have to spend their time nailing him down. Okay, let's watch a little bit of this video. His home, knocking down the door because no one came to the door. The music is very Daily Mail. I'm going to put it on mute. They're all standing there with their SWAT, like their shields on. I mean, it's pretty big of a deal. Up in a little town in upstate New York. I think it's pretty crazy that this even had to happen. Like, why didn't he just turn himself in when he knew this was coming? Now, this is, of course, Melissa Gilbert and Timothy, who she is allegedly standing by her husband. This is what people are saying. It says, following the raid, which lasted 20 minutes, one stern-faced officer declined to comment when asked by Daily Mail if they knew Busfield had handed himself in shortly before their probe. It's unclear if Gilbert traveled to New Mexico to support her husband, but no one was at the property when the marshals arrived. And I want to just see if there's any more information that I'm getting. Okay. Gilbert leapt to her husband's defense on Tuesday in a new statement saying she is standing by him. She is honoring the request of Tim's lawyers not to speak publicly while the legal process unfolds. It says during this period, her focus is on supporting and caring for their very large family as they navigate this moment. Melissa stands with and supports her husband and will address the public at an appropriate time. We ask that their privacy be respected. Okay. Obviously, you guys, it's really not looking good for Timothy, and I have a feeling, my guess is that there will be additional charges based on additional people. This tends to happen, when one person gets kind of caught in the act, uh, other people come forward. Now, this third case about this teenage girl whose father, who is a therapist, thought counseling would be a smarter move than anything else is actually pretty confusing to me. If you're a therapist, you cannot heal these kinds of acts, in my opinion. I think you need to be turned into the police. So something must have happened there behind the scenes. Maybe he got, blackmailed or bribed or threatened or what. Now, prosecutors in New Mexico are painting Timothy Busfield as a child predator who poses a danger to any kid who gets near him. This is new legal docs that prosecutors are laying out all the reasons why they want Timothy to remain locked up as the criminal case proceeds, including the serious allegations that he's faced here, plus more in the past. They say that the alleged victim's claims are corroborated by therapy records, diagnosing them with PTSD and anxiety, medical records documenting grooming and sexual abuse concerns, behavioral change, including nightmares, bedwetting. Of course, this is with the victims, not with Timothy. Bedwetting, withdrawal, and fear, plus independent witnesses describing Timothy as touchy and physically inappropriate. Prosecutors are saying that he admitted that he likely tickled and touched the children involved and maintained offset social relationships with them and their family, though they claim he contradicted himself when he told police that he didn't really know the boys. They also say that the boy's twin brother independently disclosed unwanted touching by Timothy and corroborated the pattern of inappropriate physical contact, authority-based silence. This is more information. Prosecutors say Timothy encouraged the boys to call him Uncle Tim, and purchase gifts, socialize with the family outside of work, and exploited the chaotic filming environment to isolate the children, conduct consistent with grooming behaviors recognized in child sex abuse cases. You guys, it ain't looking good for Uncle Tim, okay? Prosecutors continue to say that he has a documented pattern of sexual misconduct, abuse of authority, and grooming behavior since he already has faced sexual assault allegations in 1994. By the way, more information about that case, which I hadn't known until this moment. A 17-year-old extra on the movie Little Big League. I loved that movie. I loved Little Big League. 17-year-old extra sued him in LA County Superior Court, claiming that Timothy assaulted her, served her alcohol, groped her, and attempted to have sex with her in a trailer. Timothy denied the claims, countersued for extortion, and settled privately. But there's more. There is more. In 2012, a 28-year-old woman accused Timothy of battery in a Los Angeles movie theater, alleging he slipped his hand under her clothes and touched her genitals for 4 minutes. They say cops took a report, but prosecutors in LA declined to file criminal charges, and Timothy called the alleged encounter consensual. I don't know if that means he was on a date with a woman. This doesn't seem like a child, at least. She's 28. I'm just saying, when there's smoke, there's fire. And I don't believe that his wife is shocked by any means by this new arrest. It's sounding like this is a bad dude all around. So I don't like to make, assumptions and speculate, but guys, I speculate. Okay. I'm sorry. I speculate. And this is daily speculation of Donna. Make sure to subscribe and like the video wherever you see it. Let's see what happens with Timothy Busfield. I'm sure it ain't going to be good. All right, let's move on to some other stories. Before I do, I want to shout out our sponsor of this week, and that's Hers Weight Loss. Because with so many options for weight loss treatment plans as the new year arrives, it can be hard to know what the best choice is, who to trust, what to know about side effects, and if something's even going to work. That's why Hers offers access to doctor developed treatment plans that are personalized to you. Through Hers, you're connected with a medical provider who determines if treatment is right for you. And if prescribed, your treatment plan is personalized to support you in reaching your goals. Plus, you can access a range of treatment options like oral medication kits or GLP-1 injectables. Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to ongoing care, dosage and medication adjustments, lifestyle and nutrition tips, and 24/7 support with no hidden costs or membership fees. And with options starting at just $69 per month with a 10-month payment plan, with a 10-month plan when paid up front and full, Hers provides access to options that fit your goals and your budget. So turn to Hers for comprehensive, personalized healthcare you can count on. From weight loss support to growing thicker hair, easing anxiety, and navigating menopause symptoms, even accessing convenient lab testing, Hers has you covered. Feel like your best self again. Visit forhers.com/dailydose to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's forhers.com/daily dose. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded drugs are not approved or evaluated for safety, effectiveness, or quality by the FDA. Prescription is required. See website for full details, important safety information, and restrictions. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. Okay, let's get into our next story. Where do I want to go next? There's so much to talk about. So let's talk about this Monique Tepe murder, Monique and Spencer Tepe murder, just with a little bit of brief new information. Michael McKee, her ex-husband, is arrested and is being detained in Ohio. This is a crazy story, you guys, mostly because when it comes to the story of Michael McKee, the ex-husband who is allegedly the killer of both Spencer and Monique Tepe, it's the most surprising thing because this is a man, by all accounts, who has been very, very successful. He's never really gone wrong or gone off the deep end. This is not a man that is a career criminal. This is not a man that has, previous cases behind him. Not even, like, from what I can see and what I've researched, not even a minor infraction or a DUI or like nothing. This is a vascular surgeon who went to years and years and years and years of medical school, went to, graduated very well off in high school, like was varsity player in the baseball team. This was the guy that everyone would say, wow, what a star. And he was assuming, he had a good career. I'm sure he was decently good at his job, at least. And this is confusing because we want to see with these kinds of cases, we want to see like, oh, obviously, like you got some problems. And we saw this coming a mile away. But when Spencer and Monique's family, especially the brother-in-law, he's kind of the voice of the family since the murders. When he's been talking to other people, he said, when he's been talking to the media up until the arrest, he never speculated on the ex-husband. And there's a very specific reason for this now that we know he's been arrested. Most likely, police and the family were told, do not share publicly who you believe this is, even if you have an inclination, because there is probably a search being had. They didn't want to tip Michael McKee off. Now, Michael McKee, now that he's arrested, people are coming out in the family, in his work, saying, like there was some warning signs. Michael McKee and Spencer and Monique did not have a long marriage. They were only married for 7 or 8 months. In 2017 or 16, like they have been divorced for so long. So this is totally, totally out of left field, unless something else was going on, right? Now, according to new conversations, according to the family, the wife, Monique Tepe, was terrified of Michael McKee. And this is where it gets a little confusing, or not confusing, sad. I should say sad. This is where it gets sad, because if she was in fact terrorized by him, if she was terrified by him, if she felt that he was a very emotionally abusive man, was there relationships? Was there a behind the scenes relationship that, we have yet to figure out behind the scenes? Were they communicating? Were they talking? Was he calling and leaving scary messages? Was he showing up unannounced? Was he stalking? We don't know that yet. And I don't believe there's any police records or any 911 calls that have been released where it shows that she was scared of him. So this will be interesting to see what happens, because we don't know if there was a record of some sort, whether she was talking to a police officer through the years about her fear, whether she was talking to friends about it, whether she was talking to a therapist about it. I mean, we don't know anything yet. I'm sure more information will come out. But this man, square-faced Michael David McKee, I hate to say it, but I have never seen such a square-looking face. He was, in my opinion, I believe he was maybe obsessed over this woman. I believe she ended the marriage. And in my opinion, I believe that he was possibly still in love with her, jealous of her, obsessed with her, and could not move on. This is what my gut feeling is telling me, and I don't know if that's the case, but it feels like it. Why in the world would you go back when you're not even sharing kids with this woman? You have no joint property. You have absolutely no information there, like no connection. They didn't even live in the same state. So what was going on there? Now, according to many articles, people, Fox, all these people, CBS, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of different places report this, that the Tepe family believes that they're confident that the police have the right suspect. It's not a shock to the family that it was him, the Illinois surgeon, Michael McKee. The reason is because she had an alleged history with him where she was very vocal about being terrified of this guy until her death. He was emotionally abusive to her to the point that it changed her as a person. Authorities have not explicitly accused him of emotional abuse, but that is my guess. A motive. The motive is that he was probably fixated on her, fixated on the fact that he was broken by her. Maybe he struggled in the dating pool, could never move on. Maybe he could never find anyone else. Maybe he never felt like there was anyone better. Maybe he felt like she was secretly still in love with him and he just needed to get there. I have no idea. There was a fixation clearly. And from what I've read and what I've seen, he doesn't have a very big social footprint. In 2026, as a 39 or 37-year-old man, most likely you have an Instagram, you have a Facebook, you have a Twitter even, you have dating profiles, you have LinkedIn, you have he's really not anywhere. In my mind, this guy kind of lived a very isolated life and probably didn't want to even move on in his life. For some reason, I think that he was probably heavily fixated on her. And I imagine there's going to be more that comes out from his computer searches and his phone records and whatnot. According to a psychotherapist, Jonathan Alpert, they say an ex may fixate on a narrative that they were wronged or replaced. And over time, that grievance can harden. They ruminate, rewrite the past, and build an internal storyline that turns the former partner into the source of their distress. From the outside, there are no obvious warning signs, but internally, the offender may have been dealing with a grievance for years. And the new partner or new family can become a trigger because it symbolizes a life that they feel cut out of. It's very sad and actually quite awful. And I hope and pray that that family can heal and that that man stays in prison and gets a guilty verdict, which I imagine that he will, because I imagine that they have a lot of evidence. They have found the gun. They have found a gun, the murder weapon that they believe is connected to the case also. So we will learn more about this as it goes on. Okay, just a little reminder, you guys, to subscribe and like and follow if you are here, because we have more stories to jump into. I hate that this is such a true crime heavy episode, but it kind of is. Tommy Lee Jones. This is the story about Tommy Lee Jones and his daughter, Victoria Jones, who died on New Year's Day, I want to say. She was found dead at 31 years old on New Year's Day at a hotel in San Francisco, a beautiful hotel, and she was found just dead on the ground. They thought maybe she had drank too much, and then sure enough, most likely it was drug related. But this is interesting. Tommy Lee Jones, her father, tried to gain conservatorship for her 2 years before her tragic death. And, it's interesting. We always talk about getting a conservator for someone that is really struggling. And this sounds like it really would have helped the case for her. But 2 years before her death, he petitioned the court in an effort to protect his daughter through a temporary conservatorship. According to the Marin County Superior Court docket reviewed by the Daily Mail, he filed the petition on August 7th, 2023, seeking to establish a conservatorship for her, and he filed it in probate court. The public docket doesn't reveal the exact circumstances that led to the filing, and medical records and supporting declarations remain confidential. At the time of the filing, though, she was being held in a hospital in Greenbrae, which I believe is close to San Francisco, under a 14-day psychiatric hold after authorities determined she could be a danger to herself or others. The outlet also noted that Tommy's petition said his daughter was appealing the hold and requested that the conservator arrange for her transfer to a drug rehab facility immediately upon her release. After the judge granted the request, Tommy later asked the court to dismiss the matter. So the judge officially terminated the conservatorship on December 18th, 2023. So for some reason, it was dismissed. And that, I don't really know specifically why. I don't know if he felt, by December, this happened in August, and December he asked them to dismiss it. I don't know if he felt like he was wrong, or maybe she was healthy, or maybe he didn't get the answers, or he didn't get the result that he thought, or maybe he did get the result. Maybe she was like, no, I can handle it. I'm going to rehab. I'm going to be fine. I don't know. But the conservatorship case was dismissed. He had an idea that she would need some help. It ended, that process ended, and sure enough, she never got help and sadly passed away. So that is a sad story. Guys, we need some funner stories today. Funner? Is that a word? Don't worry, I'll get to some fun stories. Well, okay, before I end the true crime segment, I want to tell you guys about this new trial that we need to be covering. And you guys tell me in the comments if you feel that you think that this is stories that this case I should cover. Because I always love Peter Tragos from The Lawyer You Know. And last night on Instagram, he said, there is a new case that I'm covering tomorrow. You won't even believe what it's about. It feels like a movie. And I'm like, oh, sounds right up my alley, like a Lifetime movie trial. Let's get into it. So this new case, and I'm not going to get into all the footage and everything, but if you guys are interested in it, let me know in the comments. I very much appreciate your comments now on Spotify, but here on YouTube or anywhere you can on X, because I know I have 75 people watching on X for my first time ever streaming on X. That's exciting. Hi, X. I will say that leave me comments if you're interested in this trial. So this is the trial for double murder trial for Brendan Banfield. Okay, not to be confused with Ashley Banfield. Brendan Banfield, who they're saying plotted to kill his wife, Christine Banfield, and lure another victim, Joseph Ryan, to the home, whom he then also killed. Now, the interesting story about this is that there is a nanny, an au pair, okay? This is happening in Virginia. And he, Brendan Banfield, is a former IRS special agent. Oh, isn't that fun, right? Pay us taxes while I kill people. IRS special agent who's being accused of being the mastermind behind a grisly double murder to cover up an affair with a family's au pair. To cover up an affair with the family's au pair. I mean, it's like, if we're not rhyming, what are we even doing in this world, right? So he is being charged. He is being charged with aggravated murder in the February 2023 killings of his wife, Christine Banfield, and Joseph Ryan inside of their home in Herndon, Virginia, which is an affluent suburb of Washington, D.C. And on his trial first day yesterday, which is being aired live on Court TV, his mistress, the au pair, her name is, I'm not going to say it right, you guys, Juliana Perez Magalhaes. Okay, I'm so sorry if I say it wrong. I'm sure I'll get the answer, or I'll get the pronunciation right as I cover this more. But prosecutors are alleging, so she went on the stand to provide an explosive first-hand account of the alleged killings. Prosecutors are alleging that this man, Brendan Banfield, spent a month impersonating his wife on a fetish website to lure this other man, Joseph Ryan, to the family's home and carry out the double murder just to hide an ongoing affair with the Brazilian au pair, who was 22 at the time. Of course, now she's probably 25 or so. In opening statements, the prosecutor, Jenna Sands, says these two individuals had no reason to know each other, but for the plotting and planning of Brendan Banfield. That's the only reason that this Christine Banfield, the wife, one of the victims, and Joseph Ryan, also one of the victims, were killed. They had no previous relationship. He impersonated his wife. At the time of the alleged murders, the au pair told investigators that she and Brendan Banfield, the husband, discovered that man, Joseph Ryan, stabbing Christine inside the home, and they both opened fire to stop the intruder. Do you guys get this? So essentially, stick with me here, okay? Essentially, the story that they told investigators at the time was that this man, Joseph Ryan, was at the house killing his wife. And the nanny and the dad, Brendan, the husband, both opened fire to protect. Now so at the time, that's what the nanny, Juliana, told investigators. But in 2023, October, a few months after the killings, she was actually arrested. The au pair was arrested in an effort to pit her, or the defense attorney is saying that she was arrested to pit her against Brendan. He's saying, the defense attorney, John Carroll, that the whole reason the au pair was arrested was to flip her against the client. But in October 2024, the nanny, the au pair, pleaded guilty to manslaughter and will be sentenced after this trial. It's giving a mix of like the Adelson trial and also the Housemaid movie, if anyone else feels like that. In explosive testimony yesterday, she took the stand, the au pair, to detail how her relationship with Banfield went from professional to sexual. Of course, they had an affair. We barely spoke. She says, my relationship was mostly with Christine and the child. She testified that in August 2022, the au pair became intimate with Brendan and how she first became aware of his alleged plan to kill his wife while they were on a trip to New York with Banfield's young child just 2 months later. And he did not want to file for divorce. He just wanted to have the affair instead. It says her testimony says he mentioned his plan to get rid of Christine. Initially, he didn't know what he would do. He just mentioned that he would think about it and let me know when he thought about it. She explained on the stand that Banfield used his wife's email and photograph to create an account on a fetish website under a fake name, while also conspiring to create an alibi in the event of a murder investigation. So he needed alibis, is what the nanny is saying now in her when she was testifying. He knew that he needed to change his routine a few weeks prior, so it wouldn't be odd that he wasn't, just at McDonald's on that day specifically. So the prosecutors are saying that both the nanny and the man accused, Brendan, propositioned men on this fetish website to enter their home under the guise of a consensual sexual encounter with the wife, Christine, who had no idea any of this was happening. And they ultimately found this guy, Joseph Ryan, and they said, that's the guy. That's the guy that we're going to lure him into the house thinking he's going to have some sexual encounter with my wife, and he's going to get killed because it's going to be in self-defense or whatever because he was stabbing or attacking my wife. What in the damn world? It says he made Brendan feel confident enough that he would be the person to play the role, which means aggressive and holding her down and coming over to the house and bringing stuff and all of that. Brendan created the narrative that Christine, oh my God, this is so awful, you guys. In her opening statement, this is the prosecuting attorney says that Brendan created the narrative that his wife, Christine, wanted to be graped. Okay? Graped. So essentially says, posing as Christine, Brendan said to this man, Joseph Ryan, on this fetish website, come to the home in Reston. The door will be unlocked. Christine will be asleep in bed. Come straight upstairs, cut off her clothing, tie her, grape her. Simple and fun. So then Joseph Ryan came to the home, but before he did, Brendan, the guy, the mastermind, the asshole husband, went to a nearby McDonald's and awaited the nanny's call, Juliana, the au pair, regarding an intruder at the home. So after calling Christine, I called Brendan, and then he picked up the phone and I was telling him, stay away. There's somebody strange. Come to the house. I'm scared. So this was all an act, by the way. This is not real. This was just like an act of pretend that you're scared. He told me to stay there. He said, I'll come home. I'm going to try to call Christine. Now, as the encounter unfolded, Banfield and the au pair put the young child in the basement with her iPad before entering the Banfield's bedroom, where then Banfield shot that man, Joseph Ryan, with his service weapon, okay, and then stabbed his own wife while the au pair held another firearm that he had purchased a month before the killing. She says, when I got to the bedroom, Brendan yelled, police officer. And Christine's first reaction, it was the first time I heard her say anything at that point. And she yelled back at Brendan, the wife, saying, Brendan, he has a knife. And that's when Brendan first shot Joe. He came with a knife because he was told by Brendan, come and cut off her clothes. This is what this is what I want. But they put the child in the bedroom in the basement with an iPad. Stay there, honey. She then testified in graphic detail, this is still the au pair, how Brendan Banfield climbed on top of his wife and then stabbed her in the neck while she covered her eyes and ears on the other side of the bed, meaning the nanny blocked herself from it. She says, I put my hands on the carpet, and as soon as I felt blood, I just removed my hands from the carpet. Blood also soaked into my shoes and socks. This is wild. Then he allegedly staged the crime scene to appear as though it was a home invasion, with her, the au pair, calling 911 to tell authorities that Ryan was an intruder who had stabbed Christine. So now he is in prison and he is awaiting trial. And once his trial is over, she's going to go on trial, Juliana. The trial is expected to last for 4 weeks. Court sessions are running every single day, Monday through Thursday, and we will continue to cover this. If you guys are interested in it, I find it fascinating, but also awful. But you want to have an affair. You want to have an affair, and this is what you do. Let me show you a visual of this trio. These pictures, of course, were taken back when when what's it called? Before they were arrested. So just know that they're going to look a little bit different than they do currently. Here you go. In the middle is Brendan Banfield. On the right is deceased Christine Banfield. That's the wife. And then on the left is Juliana Magalhaes when she was the au pair. Now, she doesn't look like this anymore. Okay. She looks a little different when in the trial. Let me show you a little clip of her on the stand. Here we go. And this started yesterday, just FYI. So we're jumping in right at the beginning. This is, of course, Brendan Banfield, the defendant, the guilty party. I know he's not guilty yet, but come on. This is when she's walking in.
22.
When did you meet him? When did you meet him?
Well, can you specify? Sorry.
When did you first?
The sound is a little muffled, and I noticed this, but it's on their end. It's not on ours. Let me speed it up a bit, and let's go to when she's talking about something a little bit more interesting.
That was her laptop and her work stuff.
And once the FetLife account was created, what, if anything, did the two of you do with it?
Texting other people, other guys. They would also text looking for whatever it is that they're interested in.
Okay. And had Brendan explained to you at this point in time, or was there any explanation given to you about what it was that he was using FetLife for, or what it was he was looking for?
This is the fetish website.
User?
Yeah.
What was that?
The website is for BDSM, people that like that kind of stuff, and he said we would be able to find somebody that plays like aggressive or that likes playing with blood and that kind of stuff.
They were looking on this fetish website for anyone that was aggressive and liked playing with blood and that kind of stuff.
Changed his routine a few weeks prior, so you wouldn't be odd that he wasn't, just at McDonald's on that day specifically.
Okay. I'm going to show you a couple of items one at a time. The parties have stipulated to the admissibility 6 and 6. And
I'm just fast forwarding a little so you can see how he looks while she's testifying. Oh, he's smirking. That's good. Shaking his head. Shaking. His fingers are shaking like crazy. All right. Well, we will be covering that. If you guys are interested, I will continue to cover it. Just yesterday, they had on the stand, they had the state's opening statement and the defense's opening statement, which I'll watch and I'll cover for you guys if I find anything interesting. And then they had 6 witnesses, including the nanny, but they also had police department, public safety, custodian of records for public safety up there, an assistant chief medical examiner before she joined the witness stand. I find it fascinating, a fascinating story. Michael, that is making light of this awful story. Now let's just end this true crime episode with just an update in the really important stories of the world, which is the Hillary Duff and Ashley Tisdale fight. This is not ending anytime soon. It's like, I don't think anything's happening in pop culture. So people are just continuing to talk about the stupidest things with the story. I mean, are we seriously still covering this? But yes, you guys are interested, so I will do it. I will do it for you. Has nothing to do for me. It's just for you guys. Now, Mandy Moore has finally spoken out in her own way about friendships. And in this one article, she says Mandy Moore admits she's mourning friendships as Ashley Tisdale's toxic mom group drama explodes. It says she's opened up about the quiet grief that can come with changing friendships amid the ongoing backlash while appearing on Wednesday's episode of Conversations with Cam. Never heard of these podcasts. I mean, some of these podcasts are so interesting to me. Like I don't even know who Cam is, but she did a podcast and no one's watching it. It has 280 views, this podcast on YouTube for an entire day. I have no idea who's watching these podcasts, but basically Conversations with Cam, she reflected on how motherhood has reshaped her closest friendships. Cameron Rogers, the host, says, do you feel like you have seen friendships sort of take a different course? And she says, I have friends who have kids that are older, and I found that the people I'm closest with in my life right now are people who are at the same chapter in their lives as parents. Like, we have kids the same age. I've had to sort of mourn in a way, not the loss of those friendships, but how they've changed. All right, interesting. I mean, the truth is she couldn't stand Ashley Tisdale, I'm guessing. That's how I guess. And then finally, the last part about that story is that the girls behind Lady Gang spoke about this, and they said there's no losers and there's no winners in this case. The only loser is Hillary Duff's husband, because it's gross when husbands get involved in the cases or the fights between the girls. Let the girls fight, let the guys do their thing, and do not mix, okay? Keep men out of women's fights. Protesting that. Keep men out of women's fights. I'm down for that fight or that protest. I will be protesting that. You will see me on the corner of the Federal Building on Wilshire in Los Angeles. Keep men out of women's fights. You know? Thank you so much, Fatty French. She says, I love true crime heavy episodes and would love for you to cover the Banfield trial. I've been waiting for this trial since it happened. I will definitely continue to cover it if you guys are interested in it. Yeah, let me know here on the comments if you guys are interested in that. And then also, I will tell you, I will be watching Timothy Busfield like this. What are you doing, Timothy? I don't trust Timothy Busfield for my life. As I wrap up today's show, I want to remind you guys that, you want me to cover Aaron Spencer. When is that trial? Aaron Spencer, I'm very invested in the story because it's about corrupt cops and I want to talk about it. So you guys just let me know when that trial is because I haven't seen anything on that in the most recent few days. I finished watching all of Karen Reed's podcast yesterday. I talked about that. The episode of her on Rotten Mango. I thought it was fascinating. A lot of you guys really like that too. Miranda says true crime over Bravo any day. I'm with you. This is like much more fascinating to me as well. And according to the numbers, you guys agree. And then finally, what was I going to say about, Patreon. So many of you guys are joining my Patreon every single day. And that's because I have a special series helping you guys start your own YouTube or podcast channel. I released the first video of part 1 earlier this week. And this is what I used to do. Before I jumped into Daily Dose of Donna. I used to help all kinds of coaches and business women and men start their own YouTubes and podcasts and Instagram. So I love doing that. If you want to jump over there on Patreon, let me know. And that, you guys, I think that's it for today. I think that's it. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. Subscribe, like the episode. I love you. Thank you very much for being here. As always, I'll see you tomorrow.